Hey everybody, it's Abby. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. So today I'm going to be talking about should probably have the palette that I'm going to be talking about. The e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette. This is fairly new to e.l.f.'s website, and they said that it's going to be in Target later, like several months down the road, which stinks, but you can still get it on their website, and it is $14, which is mind-blowing because I've used it quite a few times. I use it today. I'll show that clip later of me doing today's eye look, and it's so worth more than $14, I think. I mean, it's not, I'll just say this, it's not the best eyeshadow palette in the world, but for $14 for e.l.f., this is fantastic. So you get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 shades, so that's way less than $1 per shade. And there you can see that there's 9, I'm trying to like not get the light in there, there's 9 warm toned eyeshadows over here and then 9 cool tones over here, which is rare to see that in a palette. Mostly like now you see all warm and like a few cool thrown in, but they have like half and half, which is amazing. So what I think is that even like from swatches, like side by side of the Mad for Matte palettes, which I have right here, like side by side swatches of these and the mattes from this palette, I'm pretty sure they're the same formula, which like why would they change it if it works, you know? But just a few of the colors are the same as some in the Mad for Matte palettes, but then, which some I don't have. I only have 2 of the Mad for Matte palettes, and I think there's a couple more. But from what I can tell, there are some definite that are exactly the same, and there's some that they look like they changed a little bit, or they're same as ones that are in other palettes. But the shimmers in here are really, really nice. Like I swatched them next to some of my ColourPop shimmers, which are really bright and metallic, and these are fairly similar. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to the eye look. I used this half of the palette right here, not every shade, but you know, mostly. Start off with a little bit of the shade Calm. I don't know if you can see. Is it in frame? I'm not sure. But this gray, light grayish color. I'm blending that into the crease with this Wet n Wild. They don't have names. I'd say this in every time I use it, but the fluffy brush, I guess it's called. I don't know, blending brush maybe. With these kinds of cool colors, you don't want to go overboard because they'll make you look like you have a black eye, which is not what we want. And then I think I'm going to take the shade Easygoing. It's the purple on the bottom. And I'm using the Sonia Kashuk blending crease brush. It's their new ones. New-ish. I got this not too long ago, but they like reformulated, or redid their brushes. I'm putting that kind of on the outer third of the lid and then blending that upwards a little bit. A lot of these shades are pretty buildable, so you can add a little more if it's not dark enough. And I'm trying to blend that out, like kind of smoke it out toward the outside so that there's not that harsh line like I can sometimes do over and over again. And I'm going to take, let's see, I think I'm going to take the shade Clever. I was going to do the shade Chill, but I'm going to use that for something else in a second. I'll make this a little bit different. So I'm going to take this top right shade called Clever. Hopefully it's in frame. I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. I'm choosing that on this plain old e.l.f. Professional eyeshadow brush. It's just any flat brush will work for this. I'm going to pat that over most of the lid. I'm just going to leave out the inner part. I'm going to go back in with a little more of the matte purple shade and blend over the outside part because I didn't really do a good job the first time. And then I'm going to take very carefully the shade on the bottom right called Genuine. And I'm going to put that on the Real Techniques shading brush and go underneath of the lower lash line. Carefully. Because I don't want it to be like too dark, but I want it to be a little bit darker than what's going on up top. Then I kind of brought that up this way to just underline that purple. I barely ever use this kind of a shade, like a black or a dark gray, so hopefully this works out. And if you get too harsh of a line when you go up this way, just kind of slightly blend upwards into the purple. And if it gets too dark, you can take a little bit of that first light gray shade and blend underneath or like over it so that it kind of diffuses it, but be careful with that also because you don't want it to be like too much underneath of there. Again with the black eye thing. Okay, then now for what I said was going to be different, I'm going to take this e.l.f. crease brush, which is really small. It's a lot like narrower than other blending brushes, and I'm going to use the shade Chill, which is the purple shimmery shade. And I'm going to take that under right in here. I'm going to see how this goes. I've tried it before with like a pinkish shade. That was inspired by a YouTuber named Lauren May Beauty. She does it all the time with pink because she has pink hair, so she kind of does this whole pink thing and it works for her. I'm going to try it with the purple. We'll see how this goes. It might look terrible, it might have a black eye, but I'm going to deal with it. I don't know. What do you think about this? I don't remember if she did it like right up here or if it was over. I don't know. Her eye shape is definitely different than mine also. The secret to this is getting them even. So the trick is to put my glasses on and see how it's looking. And you can't even see it with my glasses on, so that's fabulous. I just wish the purple was a little brighter on this shade. But other than that, I think it's okay. I don't know. And it might be overkill, but I'm going to take a little of that shade Clever, which is right above that purple, and put that like underneath to kind of blend it out. I don't know. We'll see. It's just makeup. It washes off, right? These shimmers are better like packed on with the flat brush because it looks great on my lid, but when I just did that you can't really see it. So I think this technique is better for a matte, but I'm going to leave it. Then I'm going to take that flat brush again and go into the shade Low Key, which is a pink and like a white pink duochrome, and put that in the inner corner. Just to give this some brightness because it's kind of dark. And I'm bringing that up onto the space that I left out on the lid. There's a finished look with mascara on. Then I'm going to put on a lipstick and film the first part of this video that you probably already saw. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this, if I want to swatch each shade and then show you the dupes for each shade. So the first shade is called Fresh, and it is a matte, kind of like a really, really light tan. You're probably not even going to see it on my hand. No, not really. So there's nothing that's exactly the same that I could find. There's a few, like in the first few of the Mad for Matte palettes, that are similar. Like one of these first, aside from that pink, but like one of these two would be pretty close. I'm not going to swatch them because you can't see it anyways. And the second shade is called Spicy, and it is a bronzy shimmer. So you can definitely see that one. And like hand and arm swatches don't do justice to what it's going to do in your eyes, but it's a good indication of what the color looks like. So I have a few dupes for that. So this one is from ColourPop. It's called Two Birds. I'm sure they have one that's closer, I just don't have it. But the finish on these is really, really similar. So here's Two Birds next to that. So this one is way more yellow than this one, but the finishes are pretty similar. And then from the Jeffree Star Blood Sugar palette, the shade called Donor is pretty close. You can see those two right here. This is Donor, this last one. They're really close, except for the Jeffree Star one is a lot more intense. And I could not find any for the shade Sassy, but I'm sure if you have a lot of like the peach tone eyeshadows, and you're going to have a dupe for this. So right here is Sassy next to that shimmery one. Then the next shade, I'm just going to go straight across instead of like splitting it up into the warm and cool. But this is a shade called Low Key, and it is a white shimmer, like a white with a really strong pink reflect. So I'm going to swatch it next to that last one. It's right, yeah, right above my finger there. I don't know if it's coming off on camera. But the only dupe that I have for that, which is even close, is this Kat Von D eyeshadow in Thunderstruck. I don't support Kat Von D, but I'm just showing you in case you have this or whatever. And this is a pretty popular shade. So the Kat Von D one kind of comes off more, like more of a whitish than pink. But let's see here. So here is the e.l.f. one, and then right here is the Kat Von D one. So the e.l.f. one is like just straight up pink when you blend it out, but then the Kat Von D one still has that white shimmer in it. The next shade in the palette is called Calm, and it's a light gray color. I used this today. I also used Low Key today in my inner corner, but I used Calm as a blending shade, and it's just a really blue-based gray. I'm going to start swatching on my arm so you can see it better, and it's not in my arm here. There is that color. And the dupe that I found for that was in the original e.l.f. Mad for Matte palette, which looks like this. And this second to last shade here. So the difference, it's probably exactly the same on camera, but the one from the new palette is a little more bluish, whereas the other one is just a standard gray color. And the last shade in the first row is called Clever, and I don't even know how to describe that color. It's like a really shimmery, like silver and purple mauve-ish. I don't know. But it is really pretty. I used that on my lids today. There's that one. It has a little bit of red in it too, I think, but it still overall looks like a cool color. And the dupe that I kind of found for that is Snake Eyes from ColourPop, which looks like this. This is one of my favorite shades from ColourPop. It's amazing. And let me swatch that next to it. So they kind of look really, really similar, except for the ColourPop one has a lot more of a flash to it. So it's these two right here. And this shade called Bold, which is the first shade in the second row. It's like a reddish shimmer. I'm sure a dupe for this exists somewhere. Probably maybe like the Makeup Geek metallic shades, I forgot what they're called. But I could not find a dupe for it in my collection. And the next one is called Cheeky, which is a matte peach. And I was for sure that I would have a dupe for this, but I do not. So there is that one. It's kind of similar to Sassy, but it's just a brighter. Like this one and this one. Wait, what am I pointing at? This one and this one. The shade called Happy, which is like a mustardy yellow color. The mustard yellow and like the peach are the thing right now. Like every palette is coming out with those shades, which I like, so I'm not too mad about it. But I'll swatch it by itself right here, and I do have a few dupes for it, or at least similar. So the first one that I found is the Mad for Matte Jewel Pop palette. The second shade right here. Which that one is a little more intense, so I'm thinking that they're not exactly the same. Maybe I like rubbed my finger in it too hard or something, but that one is just a little more on the brown side. And then the shade called Paper Tiger from ColourPop is that same kind of yellowy mustard color. This maybe has a little more like orangish in it. But like on the eyes, they'll probably look exactly the same. And this shade called Witty, it is like a grayish tan color. I'm running out of room. I got some on my nail, so the swatch looks weird. But there are a few shades in this, the original Mad for Matte palette that kind of could be similar. They're going to look exactly the same on your eyes. So if you have this palette, if you have any of the Mad for Mattes, you're going to have similar shades to this, except for the shimmers are out of this world. So, let's see, the next one is called Smooth. And it's it's kind of the same as the other shade, but darker. It's like some of these swatch better than others. Right here. And I did find an exact dupe for that. The third last in the Mad for Matte palette. So this one. So this last two right there. Pretty much exact dupes, except for maybe I rubbed my finger in it differently because the pan is shaped a little bit different. So I don't know. And the next few I cannot find a dupe for, so I'm going to start with this hand, I guess, because there's no room over here. So I'm on the shade Chill, which is a purple shimmer. I'm sure purple shimmers exist in other palettes, but apparently I've, like, from watching other videos and stuff about, like, how makeup is made, apparently purple is a really hard color to make, like purple and greens. So, I did not find a dupe for that one. But it is really pretty. I do have it on today. And the next shade is called Saucy. It's really hard to show this without like the flash of the thing. But it's a like kind of a mustard yellow too, but it's a little more on the, I don't know what you would call this. Like kind of has a little orange in it. But I cannot find anything that was similar to this. And then the shade Daring, which is next to that, of course. I could not find anything. I'm sure that ColourPop has a shade like this, but I couldn't find any in my collection. Yeah, holding it up to like the other ones, it doesn't really match. So this is Daring right here. And the next shade called Warm. I'm sure, again, there is a shade, a dupe for this, but I just don't have that many eyeshadow palettes. So there it is. It's a pretty standard neutral brown. So let me swatch, what is this shade called? ColourPop Top Notch. Maybe that's similar. No. See, Top Notch is like orange, so it's not really, I mean, it's kind of close, but I wouldn't call it a dupe by any means. And then, almost done here, the next shade is called Easy Going, which is a matte purple. And I did use that today also. I guess I'll start over here. I did find a pretty much exact dupe for that in the Mad for Matte Jewel Pop palette. There's a matte purple. I mean, they're not like exact. Easygoing from the new palette is a little lighter, and then, but I mean, if you blend it out, they're pretty much the same. So yeah, they're the same. Second to last shade is called Wise. It's like a dark Kelly green. And then there is a green right next to that in the Jewel Pop palette. Just don't know how exact this one was. So the one in the new palette is darker a little bit than the one in the Jewel Pop palette. And the last shade is called Genuine. I will swatch it, but I will not swatch the dupes because there's like a bunch at the, like, on the very last shades of the Mad for Matte palettes. Like these last couple over here, they're pretty much the same. And you can shear out any black to get a gray, so I will just swatch this one because it is a pretty dark gray. And it looks black. And I used this on my lower lash line today, and it is pretty dark. But in the pan, it doesn't look so dark, so I don't know. Alright, so there's all the swatches. I am now covered, so I will wipe these off real quick so I don't get them everywhere, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there was a demo and a swatch and dupes comparison. So let me know what you think about this. Overall, I really like it. I would definitely recommend it just to try because it is so good for the price, and it maybe if you're just starting out, like either doing more colorful-ish eye looks, because these definitely aren't all neutrals. There are some color in here, and there is a good mix too. A lot of palettes can be like all neutral and then like one or two pops of color, but this one is pretty colorful throughout, which is amazing. And if you're starting with YouTube, maybe this is a good investment for something you could do several looks with this. I know I've came up with quite a few different ones, like from the cool side and from the warm side. I think these apply really well with just standard brushes. I know some shimmers can apply better with your fingers, but these are pretty good with brushes. With the metallic shades, the same thing goes for the ColourPop eyeshadows too. When you're applying it with a flat brush, you want to like gently sweep it downwards instead of packing it, and it gives off like more of a metallic finish that way, so something to think about. And also this is good for the beginner as well because the shades are buildable, so they're not too bright right off the bat, but you can build them up if you want to. And they don't take a lot of blending either, which was kind of like weird for me with the Mad for Matte palettes because I'm used to blending and blending. But these you don't really have to, they're blendable on their own. So if you're a beginner and you're not used to doing all that blending, then these will be fine for you. So yeah, I'm super excited to see looks people come out with this. I've only seen like one or two other people who have posted a video about it, but I haven't watched it yet because I didn't want to like taint my review. So yeah, overall, I think it's definitely worth the money. I love the shades. The only thing is be careful with the cool side because some of the colors can look a little muddy or can look like you have a black eye. I tried to be very careful to avoid that today because I use a lot of the gray colors. And it does have those trendy colors in it too, like the peaches and the mustard yellows. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you're going to buy this palette, if you're interested, if you have already bought it. And also let me know if you have any dupes for this. I tried to stick with ones that I think other people would have, and not everybody probably has the Jeffree Star palette, but like the other e.l.f. palettes maybe. And I definitely, like, after having those e.l.f. palettes and some of their shimmers, I still think this palette is worth it to have just because it is so inexpensive. You know what I didn't think of until now is the product amount that's in here, if it's worth it. But, I mean, like, when's the last time that you, like, unless you're doing a project pan, you used up an eyeshadow, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's about it for today. Let me know what you think, and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.